Anya, going to elaborate about some basic concepts of machine learning and further we'll discuss about the types of machine learning. So this picture shows that machine learning is a technique by which a machine can learn from its past experience and past data. So now moving towards the technical definition. So there are two terms that comes into the picture. The first one is the artificial intelligence and the second one is the machine learning. And there is a quite difference between these two terms. So now moving towards the particular definition of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence refers to the stimulation of human intelligence in machine that are programmed to think like human and mimic their action. Whereas machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that gives the ability to the machine to learn from the data and the past experience to identify patterns and make prediction with minimal human intervention or involvement. So we can say that all ML are AI, but all AI are not ML. Now we can say that machine learning is statistical technique to make a computer more intelligent. This diagram shows the traditional programming in which we provide data and program to get an output, whereas in the second diagram, which shows the technique that is used in machine learning, where we provide a data and the output, and based upon that output, we produce a program which helps in prediction and for various machine learning techniques that we'll discuss further. So these are some examples of the machine learning. So machine learning can be used in speech and image recognition system, in chatbot, in Google translation, in prediction system, and in extraction and email filtering, in real-time dynamic pricing, and virtual assistant. So there are basically three types of machine learning. The first one is the supervised learning, second is the unsupervised learning, and the third one is the reinforcement learning. So we'll discuss about them individually. So if we move towards the supervised learning, so in supervised learning, we used to provide a labeled data to our system, and based upon that labeled data, our model is created, which will further describe or predict the output of a new input. So basically, in supervised learning is a type of machine learning in which machine are trained using labeled data, and on the basis of that data, machine predict the output. The labeled data means some inputs data is already tagged with the correct output. Supervised learning is a process of providing input data as well as correct output data to the machine model. The aim of the supervised learning is to find a mapping to a map the input variable with the output variable. Some of the examples of the supervised learning are image classification, fraud detection, spam filtering, etc. So this picture shows the working of the supervised learning. So first one is the training phase in which we provide our input with a label. Here label basically means the output to that particular input. From that we extract the features and we develop a machine learning algorithm. In the testing phase we provide a new input without any label and we test our model whether it is able to give the correct output or not. So now moving towards, there are two types of supervised learning basically. So the first one is the regression and the second one is the classification. So if we talk about regression, so a regression problem is when the output variable is real value such as forecasting sales, weather forecasting, etc. And if we talk about the classification, so a classification problem is when the output variable is a category such as red or blue, yes or no, disease, no disease, female or male, true and false, etc. So there comes a term which is known as hypothesis. So a hypothesis is an assumption that is made based on some evidence. It can either be true or false. In terms of machine learning, it is a candidate model that approximate a target function for mapping inputs to outputs. Now, the second type of machine learning is unsupervised learning. So in unsupervised learning, we used to provide unlabeled data, unlike in supervised learning. So here, unsupervised learning is a type of machine learning in which models are trained using unlabeled data set and are allowed to act on that data without any supervision. Unsupervised learning cannot be directly applied to regression or classification problem because unlike supervised learning, we have the input data but not the corresponding output data. The goal of unsupervised learning is to find the underlying structure of dataset, groups that data in according to similarity, and represent that data in a compressed format. The output is depend upon the coded algorithm. So here's an working of unsupervised learning. So we provided a input raw data, which is an unlabeled data. There are some interpretations and processing for the algorithm creation. Thereafter, our model will be able to classify whether it's a dog picture or whether it's a cat picture. So the major term used in the unsupervised learning is clustering. So what clustering means is clustering is a method of grouping the object into cluster such that object with the most similarities remain into a group and has less or no similarity with the objects of another group. And there also comes a term association. So an association rule is an unsupervised learning method which is used for finding the relationship between variables in the large database. It determines the set of the item that occur together in the dataset. So now let's take an example of the association, such as a person who buys X item. Let's suppose bread. Are also tends to purchase butter or jam item. A typical example of association rule is market basket analysis. And moving to the third type of the machine learning technique, that is reinforcement learning. So in reinforcement learning, we have an agent which work on a particular environment. Environment basically means the surrounding or the conditions of that agent. So reinforcement learning is a feedback based machine learning technique in which an agent learns to behave in an environment by performing the action and seeing the result of the action. For each good action, the agent gets a positive feedback, and for each bad action, the agent gets a negative feedback or the penalty. The agent learns with the process of hit and trial, and based on the experience, it learned to perform the task in a better way. Hence, reinforcement learning is a type of machine learning method where an intelligent agent interact with the environment and learn to act within it. For example, game playing, robot navigation, business strategy planning, self-driving car, etc. So the main elements of the reinforcement learning are the agent, the environment, policy. Policy is a set of rules that agent will follow or take for its next action. Reward basically means a positive or a negative. For a positive action, agent get a positive reward, and for a negative action, the agent get a negative reward. So this picture shows the working of the reinforcement learning. So and that's all for today. Thank you.